Thank you for attending the ATSU Alumni Recognition Ceremony. We have several things to celebrate today, but right here, most importantly, is our honored alumni from the class of 1965 celebrating their 50th anniversary, and then the class of 1990 celebrating their 25th anniversary. But we're also here to celebrate, it's been 123 years since the founding of the osteopathic profession in this great university. So I think that's pretty amazing. So there we go. Hello, my name is Randy Rogers. I'm the Associate Vice President for University Advancement, and it's a pleasure to serve as your Master of Ceremonies this morning. So again, what we do is we have a very distinguished audience, and all of you are distinguished, but we have certain groups that I would like to recognize before we make the formal introductions and welcomes by the administration. So of course, as I said, we have our honored alumni here that we're very pleased and we're very honored, humbled that you made it back to be with us today. And I hope you enjoyed this whole weekend, and whatever we can do, just let us know. We also have, we have 50 and 25-year members. Then we also have gold medallion members that are with us that, again, we'll recognize. And we're going to come back to these folks later and individually recognize them as well as that. As we go back further, I think the CME, the Continuing Medical Education folks, we're letting out. I don't know if they're quite here yet. They're still in session, but they'll be here as well. And we thank them for being here and participating. And some of them come back every year. We have faculty, staff, emeriti faculty and staff might be in the room. You might raise your hand for faculty and staff and be recognized if you would. All right. And of course, students, we have some students. I see some white coats and maybe other students, maybe not in white coats, but please raise your hands for students and be recognized. Without you, we wouldn't be here, so thank you for attending. We have another group. We have our Board of Trustees. These are individuals that volunteer and give of their time and talents to help the university and further the mission of the university. So again, thank you very much, sincerely, for what you do for us. A lot of people don't know the time and travel it takes for you to do this and the thoughtful processes you put into this. And so again, we thank you very much. So we will, absolutely. We have an international group with us. Are they here with us, Jason? Or?
Yes, and actually, three of our performers, if you want to stand up, Kurt, Kathy, and Andrea have come back for continuing education. So Kurt, Andrea, and Kathy from Alberta and Toronto, Canada. So. And we have Tomas, who is from Switzerland. And Ralph, who is from Germany. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Jason. Now, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce to you a 1984 graduate of the Kirksville College of Osteopathic Medicine and well into his fourth year serving as ATSU president, Dr. Craig Phelps.
Great. Thank you, Randy. You made my job easy by introducing many of the folks in the audience, and once again, our wonderful faculty, staff, and our students, and our alums who are just amazing and have done wonderful work out there in the communities for so many years. It's a pleasure to be here to honor you today. And some of you I've worked with very closely. Some of you I've read your biographies that are in the program today, and it's fascinating to see what you have done both individually and as groups. And so congratulations. We had the KOAA, Kirksville Osteopathic Alumni Association, meeting at the AOA, ended earlier this week. We had a nice evening out, and we were able to honor some of our alums and some of our distinguished supporters of ATSU. Dr. Drew received the Distinguished Service Award from the KOAA, our board chair, who you'll be hearing from. Ms. Lori Haxton received a KOAA award up in the back, one of our vice presidents. Dr. Theobald, I don't know if he's down here right now, but one of our faculty, yes, received a KOAA award. And then Dr. LeBaire, I don't know if he is here right now, and there were several others, but just wanted to make sure that you know that the KOAA Alumni Association is active, participant within the university, involved in all sorts of things that make our environment better and make our students better. So thank you for that support. I also noticed that we have some former board members and board chairs here. So if you would just stand up, former board members and board chairs from KCOM and ATSU. I think thank you for your work that you've done. It's great to see. Dr. Connor and Dr. Veras were just amazingly supportive of KCOM and AT Still University. And we have people from around the world, and it's hard to believe that almost 125 years ago, this idea of the interconnectedness of the body and the mind and what we call the spirit was really something that would stay around for a long time and grow in its acceptance throughout the world. And now we talk about the Affordable Care Act, and we talk about whole person, whole community health care. And as osteopathic physicians, you were trained in that model and you exemplified that model, and we hear it wherever we go in the country. We hear health centers say, boy, if I have a chance to hire an allopathic versus an osteopathic physician, I'll take an osteopathic physician every time. They seem to be more in touch with the community, more in touch with the patient, more in touch with interprofessional delivery of care, and it really is amazing that this came from this town in Kirksville, Missouri, and that you've been a big, big part of that. And it's proud, I'm very proud to serve you and to serve our students and our faculty and staff, and it's an honor for me. I'd like to introduce our board chair. You heard a little bit about him a few minutes earlier, Dr. Scott Drew. Dr. Drew is in his third year as chairman of the board. So those of you who remember 1 year as chairman of the board, or 2 years, understand that 3 years is kind of pushing that responsibility. Our board comes to every 90 days. Our board chair comes to, our board members come to meetings throughout the country. They leave their families, they leave their jobs, they pay to come to the board meeting, and they participate every 90 days, some for 9 years straight. So you think about that commitment to AT Still University. So they could literally have a child grow up, be in grade school, and be in college by the time they're done with their duty on the Board of Trustees. So we really thank them. You'll be hearing from some of our deans and dean representatives, but I'd like to introduce Dr. Scott Drew, chairman of the board for AT Still University.
Thank you, Craig. Well, much to Dr. Gevitz's chagrin, I have some prepared remarks, which when I walked in the room, I threw them away because of what I saw when I walked in here. And first off, let me introduce my board to you. First off, let me assure you of our commitment, our board's commitment to KCOM and the training of osteopathic medical students at the premier inaugural School of Osteopathic Medicine. We have 4 DO board members who are Legion, who bleed ATSU, bleed KCOM, whose love for this institution goes beyond the pale. Dan Berry, who's been on the board for 10 years now, class of 72, distinguished alumni of the year. Stan Groggs, class of 71, from Oklahoma, also KOA Alumni of the Year, and then Dorothy Munch, an osteopathic primary care physician from Poplar Bluff, class of 85, is with us today, and thank you to those 3. And we also have, different as we've evolved as a board, we have brought experts from around the globe, around the country, from geographically, gender, race, and skill set and expertise to help us become even more preeminent in our world. And I'd like the rest of my board to stand and be recognized. So I was going to tell you how great a school we are and what great things we're accomplishing, but you'll hear enough about that, and you probably already know that. But really, ATSU is a story of people. And in the past 8 minutes, I had this flood of people stories, and I look over at this group of men and women, and I'll just share 4 stories with you of how some of these people impacted my life and are impacting other lives as well. So, and this guy probably doesn't remember this, but back in 1985, when I was 3, I was serving on the KOAA board as an alumni, as a student representative. And Frank Veras was the alumni person of that, and he came up to me, and clearly I looked young, dumb, and poor, and he took me to lunch and told me about his life and practice in Ohio and what it meant to be a DO in Ohio. And I've been a DO in Ohio for the past 25 years, and from that lesson, I learned that most students who followed me were young, not dumb, but poor. And I have made a point of taking a student to lunch or dinner with me every time I met a student. Frank Veras, thank you for being a role model. I walked in the room, and I turned to Craig and I said, "Did Mike Willman dye his hair gray? Because the last time I saw Mike Willman, his hair was jet black." And when I was a student, Mike Willman taught me and many other people radiology back in the day when there's actual film, and film had to be developed. And in addition to being an expert in radiology, Mike Willman taught us the importance of being a family man and being involved in your community. These days, our ATS students come to ATSU already written chapters in books and already volunteering around the globe doing things. Mike, and in my class, all you did was you came to school, studied, and went home and played cards. Mike taught us the importance of being involved and being integrated in your community, and that being a DO was not just seeing patients, but being a leader. Mike Willman, thank you for that. And then back in 1987, I never thought I would say a kind word about Gail Burchett. Yeah. My love for him had to evolve. So back in the couch, or the other classroom, prior to, there's no internet, there's no computers, there's no cell phones, and to learn lung sounds, he had this gizmo in front of the classroom, and we had to plug earphones in and take the earphone back to your desk. So there's 150 kids with this Medusa of earphones. I'm sure it was a fire hazard and everything else. And he said, well, why don't you understand between RALs and rails and whatever other lung sounds, the word that dermatologists don't know anymore. And he demanded expertise, and he wasn't afraid to be the tough guy that says, you're gonna be out there and you're gonna be students of the most expansive DOS college there is. You need to be smart. And he wasn't afraid to show us some tough love. So Gail Burchett, thank you for being a role model. And finally, when I was on the KOAA board, the university changed its name from KCOM to ATSU University. And the KOAA board thought, what in the world is happening? The world is going to stop spinning, and this is terrible. We need to fix this. And Dave Connor took time to come to our board for years and explain to us that we were bigger than ourselves. We had an opportunity to reach out to spread the word of osteopathic medicine to dentists and PAs and audiologists, and still be the best, the brightest, the most preeminent institution in the world. And I tell you, Stan Grog and I and others had to be dragged to that world, reminding us that we are lifelong learners. So we continue to grow. Dave Connor, thank you for your service. So with that, let me reassure you that the 17 Board of Trustees that are here this weekend, in spite of the maudlin weather, will reach out, work diligently, work in consensus and in respect to ensure that your institution continues into the next century as the preeminent school of health sciences in the nation. And we're so glad you're all back. Thank you so much. And to the students, you are our primary mission. We'll take care of you.
Thank you, Dr. Phelps and Dr. Drew. Those are some great stories and very funny. It's now time to meet three outstanding deans on the Missouri campus. And the first dean that will speak today is a 1982 graduate of the Kirksville College of Osteopathic Medicine, and she's dean of KCOM, Dr. Margaret Wilson. Dr. Wilson.
Thank you so much. And I can't top Dr. Drew. There's just no way. He's so entertaining, but the only thing I can say is he was one of my first students. So for better or for worse, here we are. But good morning and welcome to all of you, and particularly a special welcome to the reunion classes of 1965 and 1990. We're just so happy to have you back on campus, and it was really nice to get to visit with you a little bit last night and see some old friends and meet some new ones. And in particular, I have to give a particular shout out to Dr. Mike Willman, who I've known since I was 13 years old and helped shape the physician that I became today. So thank you, my good friend. Yeah, I babysat for your kids. And welcome to our international visitors. It's always so exciting to have, and I think we have Germany, Switzerland, and Canada represented. So thank you for being here. It's just wonderful to have you. And then all the CME folks and our students and staff and faculty. And really, you know, despite the rain, what a wonderful day to celebrate our heritage and remember, you know, our osteopathic profession and tradition and where we came from, our roots. You know, I think it's really important for us to stop once in a while, you know, in our busy lives and kind of remember where we came from. And as you walk through Heritage Hall and see the cabin and the first school, and remember, I mean, just look at our humble beginnings and really stop and think where the profession has come today to where we literally touch the whole world. I mean, this profession has made an incredible impact, you know, not just here on our campus, not just in the United States, but literally across the world. And every single one of us has a connection to that past. Every single one of us is connected to that past, and we have an obligation to our future, the future of osteopathy. I can't even imagine. Can you imagine what A.T. Still would think of us if he walked in here today? Can you imagine? Just a few kind of little fun facts, and it really is remarkable. You know, DOs are one of the fastest growing health professions in the country. There are now 31 schools with 44 campus locations. By next year, there'll be 100,000 osteopathic physicians expected to be in active practice in the U.S. Today, this one I really love, today currently medical students in the U.S., 20% of them are osteopathic medical students. Remarkable. And DOs have unlimited practice rights in over 65 countries in the world. So it's really remarkable. And, you know, every year I try to do an AT Still quote. I guess you call me an osteopathic nerd, but, you know, again, and the one I found this time, you know, I really want you to listen to the words because I think they speak to us today. On January 22nd, 1874, I flung to the breeze the banner of osteopathy. For years, it has withstood the storms, cyclones, and blizzards of opposition. Her threads are stronger today than when the banner was first woven. Her colors have grown so bright that millions now begin to see and admire and seek shelter under her protecting folds from disease and death. Mothers and fathers have come by legions and asked why this flag was not thrown to the breeze before. It has taken many years to prepare the ground to sow the seeds of this, as well as any other truth that has come to benefit man. So be patient, have faith in God, and the final triumph of truth, and all will end well. And I think we will all end well. So thank you very much, and so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Very inspiring. Dr. Donald Altman, who is Dean of the College of Graduate Health Studies, couldn't be with us today, but he has asked that Dr. Catherine Adler, DHA, FACHE, Associate Dean, Academic Success and Assessment, to speak on his behalf. Dr. Adler holds a doctorate in Healthcare Administration and Leadership from the Medical University of South Carolina. Dr. Kathy Adler.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, you can do better. Good morning. Good morning. All right. I always really enjoy giving this short welcome because I find myself humbled and honored to be in the same room with such talented and committed individuals. To think of all the lives that have been positively impacted or will be affected by the overwhelming service that you've provided is pretty awesome. From our little sleepy town of Kirksville and A.T. Still University, we do really big things. So more than just welcome, this is also a thank you. Because of the strength and stature of ATSU as a leader in health sciences education, the College of Graduate Health Studies is able to carry that mission to students who may not be clinicians, but are making impact because of their involvement in the health professions. To our distinguished board members, dignitaries, and alumni, and to our outstanding faculty, staff, and students, I welcome you to Founders Day, and with heartfelt gratitude from CJHS, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Adler. The Dean of the Missouri School of Dentistry and Oral Health is Christopher Holliday, DDS, MPH, and he received his Doctor of Dental Surgery from Marquette University School of Dentistry and a Master of Public Health from the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill School of Public Health. Dr. Chris Holliday.
Well, good morning, everyone. Whoops. Hey, good morning there. How y'all doing? Can you still hear me? Well, welcome to the beautiful campus, Kirksville, Missouri, ATSU University. To the alumni, welcome back. It's great to see you here. We're really excited to have you here. As Randy noted, my name is Chris Halliday, and I'm the Dean of the newest dental school in the nation. And this dental school would not exist without the support of the alumni, the board, the administration of ATSU University, and the community of Kirksville. So I'd like to thank each one of you for your role in paving the future for the leaders in dentistry in this country. Speaking of leaders, the future leaders of dentistry in the country, I'd just like to ask the dental students in the back there to raise your hands. Make sure you guys have a chance to meet them. I would really like for you to spend some time talking to the dental students at this school. They're wonderful. They're very altruistic. They're very forward-thinking. They're concerned about the community. Just like KCOM, we make sure that we look at the applicants who express those qualities of altruism and friendliness and the needs of the underserved community. So please, while you're here over the next few days, spend some time talking with the dental students. I think you'll be very impressed by them. I know that we are within the dental school. I'd also like to ask the staff and the faculty at the dental school and administration to raise their hands. I know there's some in the back. So likewise, we have just a great group of administrators, faculty, and staff at the dental school. So if you have a chance, please meet them as well. They're helping to mold the future of dentistry for these dental students. I'd just like to thank you so much for the pathway that the alumni have set for the future of healthcare in this country. It's because of the efforts of you and your predecessors that we have these wonderful schools for our students. So I don't want to diminish the role that each of you have played. Thank you so much. I think you're very proud of the type of graduates we produce, and I think you're going to see a lot of yourselves and your predecessors in the future graduates from ATSU University. So thank you so much. I'd like to conclude by just asking you to again, spend some time getting to know the MOSDO faculty, staff, students while you're here. Have a great time over the next few days. You're going to become reacquainted with friends from the past, and I'm sure you're going to leave Kirksville with many new friendships that you set forth over the next few days. And I certainly hope that these young folks, both in the medical school and the dental school and at the College of Graduate Health Studies, are amongst those new friends you make when you leave here in a few days. So welcome, have a great time, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Holliday. And of course, the morning wouldn't be complete if we didn't hear from a student and give their welcome. So we have with us today Maxwell Nice, and he's a second-year KCOM student, and he's chair of the Student Government Association on the Missouri campus. Maxwell.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. You can hear me. You can hear me all right. I have to say what an honor and how humbled I am to be addressing you. This is quite the privilege and responsibility. So I like to say it's a really exciting time to be here at ATSU as a student right now. We have a lot going on. It's exciting to be in parallel with dental students now. It's 3 years into it, and it's really been, as far as interprofessional experiences has to go. It's very, sorry, I'm nervous. There's many important people in front of me, and I didn't want to mess up, but I guess I did. But it's very exciting to be working and studying alongside them and being able to work with them. We have a lot of programs where we get to work with the dental students and the biomeds and really foster that interprofessionalism. A few diligently working students got the student-run clinic open, so that's new and started this year, and that's really exciting. All the students from various disciplines get to participate in that, And I think that's a really important experience before we go on to be future physicians. I just wanted to thank everyone for their support to us as students and to the school. Without your support and your example, we need something to aspire to, and your example is what's giving us that. So boundless thanks for that, and I hope you have a great weekend here this weekend and meet all the students, and we look forward to joining you as physicians and professionals. Thank you.
Thank you, Maxwell.
Very good, very good. And I had one other KOA recipient of the Alumnus of the Year, Dr. Wilson, was honored last week too. So that's pretty good when you're the dean and the Alumnus of the Year, and you know there's quite a few things. We have a special guest coming in, the ATSU mascot, Bucky, the Ram of Reason. Yay, Bucky. Yay. So a little bit of background on Bucky. Bucky was named after Bucky Walters, as you remember, the Dean of Students and many other roles. Bucky goes around to many events, schools, parades, programs, and talks about osteopathic medicine, health, the importance of preventive care, staying in school, and proper nutrition. And Bucky lights up a room wherever Bucky goes. Bucky was donated by one of our alums. It's, as you can see, it's a professional grade mascot, pretty exciting, and brings a lot of joy to the kids in Kirksville and around the world. So, the Ram of Reason, some of you may wonder why a ram. Well, it's very interesting. Dr. Still talks about falling asleep and waking up and realizing this ram of reason or this ram of responsibility, that we're all responsible for our own journey and our own success. So after World War I, when the sports were starting back up again, they said we needed a mascot. And there was a Dr. Vig Halliday back at that time, I don't think related to Dr. Halliday, who said the ram is the natural choice. The ram was on the diplomas. The ram was considered an animal of reason. And so we chose Bucky, the Ram of Reason, designed by a student and named by one of our alums. So, hey, all right. Very cool. You're going to do some exercises, lead us in some exercises today? Very good. Very good. Bucky's happy for the rain because it's only about 110 degrees inside Bucky's head, and very good. But thank you for coming and sharing, and we appreciate that. And if anybody'd like a photo with Bucky, I think we may find Bucky around later. Very, very popular during student orientation to get a selfie with Bucky and enjoy that. So thank you. All right. Thanks, Bucky.
Thank you, Bucky. It's time now to start our alumni recognition ceremony. It's my privilege to introduce to you the distinguished alumni and guests from the KSOM graduating classes of 1965 and 1990, and members of the Gold Medallion Club. Dr. Wilson will be presenting special recognition pins and medallions. The class of 1990 is celebrating their 25th class reunion. Are we starting with? Okay, starting with, okay, Gold Medallion first, okay. Hello, okay. Yeah, you're going to do, I'll just flip it around to the next, that's fine. Off script. Okay, here we go. Hey, that's right. Class of 1965. So we got it right in here. I will announce the individuals. We'll have some information on the screen, more information, but I'll just go over a few things here, and especially maybe some stories that they shared with us. So first one would be Ralph C. Banner, D.O., from Ormond Beach, Florida. His current practice specialty is radiologist, retired. The question was asked to each of these individuals, what people or places do you remember most when your days at KSOM? And we had a whole variety of answers on these things. So he remembers medical school as being a hard push with about 20% flunking out before graduation. Also remembers wearing a suit, jacket, and tie to class every day. His wife Kay grew up in Kirksville, and Ralph lived on Osteopathy Street. His guests are Kay Banner, his spouse. Congratulations. Arlen Linwood Bass, D.O., Paso Robles, California. Current practice specialty is OM&M cranial, and he's retired. What people or places do you remember most about your days at KCOM? He enjoyed taking his catamaran to the lake while in Kirksville. Upon graduation, he sold it to an incoming freshman and who proceeded to sell it over the dam at the lake. He said, yeah. He said, in the notes, he said he planned when he came back here to look for pieces of it at the dam to see if there was any left. And he told us last night, shared with us, he didn't find any pieces. So yeah, it's gone. That's, so it is. His guest is his wife, Risa. Yeah, very nice. Next, we have Gail Dwayne Burchett, D.O., from Pueblo, Colorado. His current practice specialty is internal medicine, cardiology. He's retired since 2013. Well, again, the question about what do you remember most when you're at KCOM, fondest memory, working with Dr. Gutenson, and his funniest memory was Dr. Boone burning a hole in a stethoscope with a cigarette while posturing for closed-circuit TV during class. Yeah. Yeah. His guest is his wife, Barbara. David Charles Connor, D.O., Lookout Mountain, Tennessee. Current practice specialty, he's retired family physician specialized in OM&M. Again, the question and David's response. The people, classmates, other students, faculty, especially Dr. Snyder, Kasner, Max Gutenson, and Dr. George Andrew Laughlin. Several clinic patients are memorable as well. He also remembers taking care of patients at Glenwood Rural Clinic and Kirksville Outpatient Clinic. The places, Theta Psi House, the Stewart Dorm, and the Tap Room. Yeah, okay. And his guest is his wife, Beverly. Congratulations. Keith W. Harvey, D.O., Albuquerque, New Mexico. Current practice specialty, orthopedic surgeon, independent medical evaluator. Again, answer to the question about what was your favorite things and places. And he wrote, buying a 55-gallon barrel of pickles and distributing to people from the East Coast. That's a lot of pickles. Yeah. Dr. Kasner and the good education that I received, and he was talking about when he's flying to Kirksville, the start of his freshman year, from New York to Chicago, then Chicago to Kirksville, and then he had 6 stops between Chicago and Kirksville on Ozark Airlines at that time. 6 stops. Okay. Yes, and he also mentioned that the plane before his, that flew, had the same schedule, had crashed, and he was going to be on the next plane, and his parents were very concerned that he was on that plane, and fortunately he was not, and he had called them and told them that he was safe and sound, so that we're thankful for that. He put on here that that he was the first DO in any residency program in Boston, and I was the first DO to be certified by the American Board of Orthopedics and the American Osteopathic Orthopedic Board. I was president of Kirksville Jewish Student Center, sponsored by the Birdman family from the Birdman Auto Parts, if you remember that when they were here in Kirksville. I met my wife at the first service that she attended there, and his wife is his guest, Betty Harvey. So congratulations. David M. Johnson. He's not here? Okay. Very good, thanks. Okay. Robert Komenarek, D.O., Erie, Pennsylvania. Current practice specialty is retired radiology. What places are most memorable to you? Meeting and falling in love with Anne, his wife. Isn't that nice? Yeah, well, she was in school here. Her sister lived here as well. Roaming around fishing farm ponds for bass with Dick Eisman and the Sadie Hawkins Day Dance. They roasted Dr. Stacy Howell with a skit about his lecture about a rooster who had a B12 deficiency. Okay? Dr. K imitated a crazy rooster. Dr. Common-Eric and his wife loved Kirksville. They still do, I guess. So his wife is his guest is his wife's Anne. So thank you. Cecil Laverne Peterson, D.O., Davenport, Iowa. Current practice specialty is family practice, retired the past 11 years. What people or places, again, question. Anatomy labs, Dr. Stuckey and his pipe, and pointing out body parts to students. And then that was in the pit of the anatomy dissection for instructions. And then placing the pipe back in his mouth after. Okay, so. We've heard that over the years. His guest is his wife, Janice. So congratulations. As someone pointed out last night, Dr. Stuckey lived a long life, so formaldehyde must have been good. So I don't know. Ralph G. Sachs, D.O., Troy, Michigan. Current practice specialty, State of Michigan Unarmed Combat Commission position. That's the Boxing Commission. Again, his answer to the question that we asked. I remember some of the older instructors that had known Dr. Still, such as Dr. Stuckey and Dr. Pearson. I remember the anatomy professor, Dr. George Snyder and Dr. Kaur, who was married to the sister of Jonas Salk, MD. The Real Clinic program, which was unique and a very interesting experience and a benefit to the community. Yes, and the guest would be Evelyn Demink. Frank George Veras, D.O., Warren, Ohio. Current practice specialty is general practice, and his answer to the question was KSM was the only school that I applied to at the recommendation of my family doctor, Dr. Plato Veridin, and I have no regrets, and I'm still practicing medicine 50 years later. While at KSUM, I was involved in the first doctor draft serving in the U.S. Navy as lieutenant commander. I have fond memories of the Real Clinic and participation in a home birth. I met and married my wife, Tricia. I obtained my pilot's license while attending KSUM. It was an honor to serve on the KSUM Alumni Board of Directors and then the ATSU Governing Board for 9 years, serving in the last 2 years as chairperson of the board. He was a special honor. He had a special honor. He hooded his son, Dr. Zachary Veras, KSUM 2003, at his graduation ceremony. And of course, his guest is Trish, his wife. So congratulations. Michael Carroll Willman, D.O., Ormond Beach, Florida, in the winter, and Kirksville, Missouri, in the summer. However, they travel much of the time. His current practice specialty is radiology. He's retired. He was a KSUM professor up to 2001. And answer to the question, same that we had before, when Dr. Gross cut Paul Dippert's ingrown toenail in class without an anesthetic. Woo! Also watching Grover Stuckey stick his pipe into cadaver muscle and then smoke it. Really sticks with you. Yeah. And his special guest is his wife, Janet. Please join me in recognizing all of our new Gold Medallion members. And since we're talking about Gold Medallion members, we'll start right here. We'll recognize ones that have been out over 50 years right now. If they'd please stand. I know we have Norman Keller, D.O., from class of 60. Norm, are you still here? Yes, Dr. Keller. Thank you. And I believe we have Paul Steinberg, DO, from the class of 60, the same class as Paul here. I believe that's all. Well, let me see. Dr. Madsen, I know Dr. Robert Madsen, he was here. Is Dr. Madsen here? Retired faculty, Golden Medallion member. Is there anyone that I missed? Dr. Robert Willis. Dr. Robert Willis is here. He's class of 57, so Dr. Willis. Is there anyone else that I missed from the Gold Medallion Club? Okay, here we'll start here back to 1990 here. Okay. James Hughes Adams, DO, Kirksville, Missouri. Current practice specialty radiologist. And in answer to his question about current or the places they like most and his memories of KCOM, and this is interesting, so I have to read this carefully. Our class had someone who would routinely raise their hand for another question at the end of many lectures, when most folks were just tired and wanted the lecture to be over. Soft peer pressure could not alter their practice of doing this. So one day, unbeknownst to others, a few classmates conspired to take the matter into their own hands. Dr. Julian had just finished an anatomy lecture, and as usual, that hand went up, which was the sign for these guys to act. Our class president jumped up from his seat and blew a coach's whistle as loud as he could, at which time several cohorts also sprung up, all with ping pong ball guns, converging on the hand and its owner, shooting ping pong balls at our inquisitive classmate from all angles. So I think that probably stopped that practice. So, thank you. Yes.
You might mention that's my good friend Jim Adams right there. I was James Adams.
Wrong picture.
Two James Adams.
Just doesn't look a thing like it.
I can see. Wrong picture, sorry. Thank you, Dr. Adams. Brian Wilson Addison, DO, Springfield, Missouri. Current practice specialty, family practice, emergency medicine. And then his answer to our question, my main memory of my 4 years here are of studying. I remember thinking someday that time in my life it would never end, that day would never end. One evening my friend Dave Brett and I found ourselves going to Walmart trying to find something fun to do. Okay? I remember Dave saying, do you realize that two grown men have just made a trip to Walmart to look at goldfish on a Friday night for fun? So, and his guest is his wife, Karen Atkinson. Congratulations. Deborah L. Beasley, DO, Covington, Tennessee. Current practice specialty is pediatrics. And her answer to the question, I fondly remember especially the group of friends that I spent almost every Saturday evening with while in Kirksville. My two best friends were Cynthia Blunt, and I hope I get this right, but Lisa Laguerre-Struntz? Laguerre-Struntz, okay, thank you. And it said, one of the things that we did regularly was to play racquetball. Lisa and I played each other almost every week. Okay, thank you very much. Henry or Henri? Henri. That's what I thought. Okay. Conrad Henri Benoit, DO. It's been a while. Barnstable, Massachusetts. Current practice specialty, internal medicine. And his answer to the question was fond memories of Orrin Mock's farm and hunting deer and rabbits with Merle and Dan Beezer and eating sauteed deer heart. Yeah. His guess is Teresa Raychek. I haven't seen that on a menu anyplace for a while, but anyway. Okay. Stephen Gary Chevalier, DO, Bloomingburg, New York. Current practice specialty is plastic and reconstructive surgery. In answer to his questions, our question to him, he said all the parties, Halloween, Sadie Hawkins, etc. Congratulations. Terry Ann Deffenbaugh, DO, Jefferson City, Missouri. Current practice specialty is obstetrics and gynecology. And in answer to our question, celebrating my 21st birthday with my classmates and having Dr. Mock call me at home during embryology to see why I was gone and when I was planning to come back to class. Leaving anatomy tests and going across the street for fluid refreshments. Okay? And guest is Kelly Forks, her spouse. So congratulations. Tina M. Holler Wade, DO, Kingston, Illinois. Current practice specialty is sports medicine, family medicine. In answer to our question, I have lots of fun personal moments, like landlord stories that included mice and fleas, okay, and silly cheesecake adventures that help you get through the week. Yeah. The greatest triumph memory was surviving the long, sometimes grueling process of academics, over 300 exams, to finally experience the satisfaction of being able to use the knowledge to help people and feel better as a physician. So congratulations, appreciate it. 300 exams, man. Bob Hartman, DO, Defiance, Missouri. Current practice specialty is vascular surgery. Last 18 years, trauma director and chief of staff, SSM, St. Joseph West Hospital in Lake St. Louis, Missouri. What people or places do you remember most? And when you're at KSUM, Dr. Mock's lectures. And his special guest is his spouse, Carol. So congratulations. We remember hearing the story. Dr. Mock would say at the first is Mock, and that's KSUM spelled backwards. So you probably remember that too. Timothy W. Jacobs, DO, Quincy, Illinois. Current practice specialty is family practice. In answer to our question, Tim wrote, getting flashed by sorority girls from NMSU while studying in the fishbowl, okay? Joe DeLuca, who's a classmate, saying he thought myasthenia gravis was a character on Taxi. Congratulations, Tim. Ann A. Koss, DO, Ludington, Michigan. Current practice specialty is diagnostic radiologist. Her answer, studying with my classmates and relaxing afterwards at Two Talls 2, giving the first year students an early Halloween fright while they were unboxing their cadavers during the first day of anatomy lab. People dressed up like zombies and ghouls and hid in the boxes. Little bit. We then hosted them for, she said last night, for a kegger out on the lawn afterwards. So, yes, and her special guest is Steve Koss, her spouse. Glenn E. Lear, DO, Arcadia, Indiana. Current practice specialty is family medicine and addiction medicine. What people, places do you remember? Fond memories of Dr. Fred Tinning, surprisingly. He was the president of the university at the time. So, buying a meal for John Finch and me. Yeah, Dr. Tinning bought it for them. That was very nice. Guest is Laura Lear, his spouse. Congratulations. Deborah Ann Mowry, DO, Kearney, Nebraska. Current practice specialty is rehab medicine, retired. And her answer to our question, when Mark, her husband, and I, Mark's also a graduate, when Mark and I went to Dr. Mock's farm to collect bullfrog tadpoles for Dr. Ure. As I remember correctly, I was not in medical school, but working as a lab tech in the anatomy department. We were driving back to Kirksville and got back to the school, and Mark jumped in the car and then looked at his seatbelt. He thought he felt something, but said, oh, it was just the seatbelt. Then he got out of the car really quickly and did a little jig, and a mouse ran out of his pant leg. Okay. And her guest, Mark Mowry, DO, who's also a class member. I'm surprised it wasn't a shrew, but anyway. Mark David Mowry, DO, Kearney, Nebraska. Current practice specialty is pathology. What people or places do you remember is indoor soccer competitions. And of course, his guest is Deborah Mowry, DO. Congratulations, Mark. Move to the next one. Okay. The next is Jeffrey Keith Rachel. He's from New Berlin, Wisconsin. Current practice specialty is family practice. What people or places do you remember the most? Bill Snyder and the downtown square. And his guest is his wife, Jane Rachel. So congratulations, Dr. Rachel. Kenneth D. Richards, DO, Green City, Missouri. Current special practice is family practice. The answer to our question was the anatomy lab with the tattooed man and green lady. Okay. Guests are Madeline Richards' spouse. Congratulations. Elizabeth S. Schrader, DO, Orland Park, Illinois. Current practice specialty is anesthesiologist. And her answer to our question is eating out at Men's Tea House, the Manhattan restaurant, living in the Crooks apartment, Pancake City, shopping at Superfood Barn, Two Talls 2, going to Columbia to the spaghetti factory with classmates, Glenn Lear traumatizing me with stories of catching recluse spiders in roach motels in the Atlas Clubhouse. So, yeah, and her guest is Sandra, her mother. Terrence Lee Soto, DO, Fleming Island, Michigan. Current specialty practice is family practice. He serves as the osteopathic program director and director of medical education at St. Vincent's Family Medicine Residency. He retired from the Navy in 2005 with 36 years of service. Yeah. Wow, that's very good. In answer to our question to Terry, he wrote, I remember the great instructors we had, Drs. Julian, Mock, Sinandela, Crow, the Cacheras, and Dr. Lockwood. Being involved with Theta Psi, water skiing at Thousand Hills State Park, and hanging out at Two Talls. And his special guest is his spouse, Deborah. Douglas G. Tackett, DO, Barron Springs, Michigan. Current practice specialty is program director of the Lakeland Health Family Medicine / OM&M residency program. And in answer to our question, he wrote, my fondest memories of Kirksville are the birth of my two daughters in the same room at KOMC 22 months apart. So, congratulations. Carolyn June Weber, DO, Clearwater, Florida. Current practice specialty is geriatrics, general practice in St. Petersburg General and Northside Hospital, St. Petersburg, Florida. In answer to our question, I remember the anatomy lab group with Peggy, Dave, Jim, Cindy Wilson, and friends from NMSU, from Truman now, and attending undergraduate at Truman. Our special guests are Betsy, Celeste, and Tracy. So, congratulations. Cynthia M. Wilson, DO, Sturbridge, Massachusetts. Her specialty is pediatrics, and her special guest is Michael Tracy. Congratulations. Okay, fast forward to the rest of the program, to the end. Okay. Might be a lot of reading here because there's quite a bit here, sorry. Would the Still partners and family members and guests celebrating their loved ones' recognition please stand and be recognized? For anyone that's with the Still partners and the classmates, stand and be recognized. Thank you. Thank you. We want to thank you for your ongoing support. That's very important. Thank you, 50-year Gold Medallion Club members and 25-year Silver Anniversary Reunion participants. We are honored to have you back on campus. All of you have left a great legacy to generations of KCUM students and graduates to emulate. We are humbled by the many years of healing and dedication to your patients, college, and profession. Special thanks to the Founders Day planning team members led by co-chairs Kim Blackman and Kelly Kirkland. Additionally, our appreciation goes out to Diane Albrecht, who worked with many of the alumni group to arrange things, and she's in the Alumni Relations Office. The CME program team, Dr. Jay Danto, Dr. Billy Strait, Jan Baum, Lynn Daniels, and Debbie Western. Reunion participants and their guests, please stay here in the room. We're going to take some photos right after this, right here in this room. So please stay here if you will after this, after we're done. And we'll get you to lunch soon thereafter. And so the CME Board of Trustees and Alumni Luncheon will be held in the Centennial Commons, which is just out this door and to the right in the Centennial Commons. And thank you all for participating in the Alumni Recognition Ceremony, and enjoy the rest of your time here in Kirksville. Thank you.